Good morning, Big Brother fans. It is Thursday, August 18th, day 44 in the Big Brother house. And we have a live eviction tonight. We have a 2-hour show. Indy should be going to jury. If that doesn't happen, then the vote went really wonky, although they have been doing a bit of vote dancing, trying to give her more than 0 votes, but not 4 votes, so that poor Taylor doesn't have to break a tie. To me, it seems like that would be of course it wouldn't be. It wouldn't put her in a good vote with Indy if she has to be the one to break the tie. But since Taylor likes the dramatic TV moments, that would be a dramatic TV moment. Just not one that went in her favor. So, yesterday was, a lot of that, a lot of shuffling about the vote, trying to figure out what's going to happen. Just the gamesmanship. You watching the house guests try to play their mental games with Indy specifically, because the ones that know that Indy's leaving, they want to make sure that Indy doesn't blame them, because they're all worried about that jury vote at the end and how's Indy going to feel. And I thought about that and thought, maybe they feel that Indy's the one to hold a grudge, but it's a long, long time until the jury votes. I mean, they're just over halfway. And so I'm not sure if Indy's going to remember who talked to her when or what they said on the way out the door, or if she's going to feed more off of how others talk about the house guests when they get out. I would guess that Indy has the potential to vote for anybody, isn't going to care about how people voted particularly, and she's never really going to know for sure, because votes aren't revealed. So, they can, in her mind, I guess it's the setup so that Indy could think, well, they would have never voted for me because they didn't say they did. But the point is, everybody's saying that they're not going to vote for her. So, all right, I'm talking in circles. What else to talk about? Let's see. The big thing is the house split tonight. I mean, that's the big thing coming down the pipe. I watched last night's episode. They really ended. That's probably the earliest they've ended an episode. I mean, they didn't even get to the Power of Veto meeting. They didn't cover. They did not cover part of the reason that Taylor was upset or about the whole thing. So they showed it. They showed the Power of Veto competition. There was that awkward moment, definitely, where Alyssa said, were you serious, about things, and before she took away Taylor's prize. But Taylor didn't take the Power of Veto away from Indy. And I understand that people would say, well, why would she take it away from one of the people? She's okay with him using it. But the point is, why would Alyssa take it away? I guess, to secure her safety. Taylor didn't need to secure her safety because she was safe, but by Alyssa taking it, she would secure her safety. But they all knew that whoever took it was going to lose it. That was the most powerful thing, and why would you take the most powerful thing when you knew that somebody else down the road was going to take it away from you? So it was more of Taylor just being upset that things didn't go exactly as she wanted them to go. And again, what wasn't shown and probably won't be shown is that Taylor was trying to. I don't even think she had it in mind at that moment when the exchange didn't happen. She was mad about losing the London trip. That's first and foremost. But then on top of it, as she tried to do things that she wanted to do further on down, she realized that she wasn't going to get to do. That she wasn't going to get to do her proposed little flip-flop. She wasn't going to get to put up Taylor. And because Kyle ended up winning the Power of Veto. And since she isn't going to get to put up Taylor, well, then she's mad that she's not going to get a London trip either. the whole thing that they had worked out potentially. I know we've talked about this, and I apologize for repeating myself, but let's just talk about it since it was not shown on TV, and it probably won't be shown on TV. Is that Taylor wanted to and was planting seeds that she was going to put up Monty. She was going to nominate Monty at the Power Veto ceremony when it was used by whomever used it. So she had been planting this seed with the non-leftover group. She was like, I'm going to make a big move, and kind of nodding and winking at the thought that maybe Monty, and yeah, that's probably what I'm going to do. And then in reality, her plan was that she was going to suddenly pronounce that she changed her mind and her suspicions had been changed, and so she would put up Alyssa as the nominee, and then there would be a big, moment of, oh my gosh, what the hell? And of course, Alyssa would have been completely blindsided. But the leftovers would have known it was coming, but they could act blindsided too, like, oh my gosh, Taylor is out of control, not doing what the plan was. When in reality, that would have been the plan, to get Alyssa out. So, Kyle refusing to use the power veto, took that moment away from Taylor, and in some ways, in Taylor's mind, it's Alyssa's fault because she didn't take the power veto, because Kyle wouldn't have taken the power veto away from Alyssa, but Jasmine would have taken the power veto away from Indy, probably, if given the, well, would she? I don't know. The whole point is, Taylor didn't get her way. She's mad about it. And there was more planned that didn't make the TV edit. Okay. I have sufficiently scrambled that all up and not talked about it very clearly, but it is what it is. I'm trying to make a conversation when I know that, again, everything changes tonight after Indy is evicted. And I've already talked about it enough that I don't want to spend too much time talking about it then. I saw online a couple of people speculating on possible combinations of 10 house guests. And it's like, yeah, you can't. I can't predict. I just can't. I mean, you could take a fishbowl and you could put all 10 house guest names in the fishbowl, and you could draw out 2 sets of 5s. And there are hundreds of combinations of 2 sets of 5. And so trying to predict who's going to end up how is just, it's not predictable. Other than the fact that it will be, either 4 leftovers and 1 non-leftover, and then 3 leftovers and 2 non-leftovers, or it will be 5 leftovers and 0 non-leftovers, and 3 non-leftovers and 2 leftovers. That's the entirety of the combination of alliances. And as a couple people pointed out to me last night again now, the odds are more likely that you will see a 4-1 3-2 split than a 5-0 3-2 split, where 5 leftovers will end up together. The odds are pretty slim that 5 leftovers will end up in one house together. But there are still odds, and there are only 2 possible outcomes of all of the combinations, which back when I started talking about this, people were like, there's so many combinations. Like, well, there's lots of combinations of different house guests. There are not lots of combinations of leftovers and non-leftovers. It's just, that's all it is. So we'll see how it falls out. And even then, that's the thing. The other thing that people are saying, well, you can, the leftovers will still have an advantage. But the problem is that even if the leftovers are up 4-1, if the non-leftover wins out of household, then it's as good as being a 5-0, because they're safe no matter what, and a leftover will have to get voted out. The same goes if the leftover is, when it's 4-1, that leftover or that non-leftover has to be nominated and has to not win the power veto. So they've got a couple of, at 4-1, they've still got 2 outs: win head of household or win the power veto. And if they do either of those, then a non-leftover is going, right? Or then a leftover is going. And then the same follows through on even a 3-2 house where it's 3 leftovers and 2 non-leftovers. Those 2 non-leftovers, they're going to probably at some point, possibly, I won't say it 100%, because the leftovers are good at hiding themselves, and the non-leftovers don't seem very clear. Plus, you've got a potential Kyle, Alyssa thing where, Alyssa will think that she's in an alliance if she's in the house with Kyle, and if Kyle holds true to his word to the leftovers, then he will be willing to get rid of her. So, but there's still lots of permutations, and that's why it's like, all right, I'm just not going to throw out possibilities just because it's just too many. And we'll have a whole week to discuss it as soon as we know what the lineup is tonight. Assuming that we know the lineup tonight, assuming that is determined before the end of the show. I could very easily see a scenario where Julie leaves us without knowing how the house is split up and tells us to tune in Sunday to see. I could see them doing that. And we'll know, obviously, at some point tonight or very early tomorrow morning. But that doesn't mean I'll be happy about it. My hope is we know how the house is split up and we know who the each head of household is before the end of tonight's show. But I don't know, man. Things never seem to go the way you'd hoped. And now they have left a lot to show yet on tonight's show that normally would have been shown on a Wednesday show, meaning they'll still have more lead up to the Power Veto meeting because they still have to do the punishments, and we know that they will have they'll make Indy play the drums during the Power Veto meeting. We've got to watch Taylor and Joshua, although they didn't get chained until after the Power Veto meeting. So there is that. But tattoos and drumming will have to happen. And the more fallout of Taylor being mad that Alyssa took her London prize. So that'll all be shown in the first hour at least. And I just don't know at what point they will break out and say, okay, now we're going to get to the actual eviction of Terrence. Oh, also there's supposed to be a live audience tonight. At least that was the talk. So we may actually have our first live audience, which will have to be addressed at least in some way, with comments or with something. So there's that. First live audience. So yeah, this will all be going... Yeah, my car's getting mad at me. This will all be going on tonight. Tune in to see it. I'll tune in. And we'll see you guys later. I did not do a Twitch stream last night. It was just one of those where I just needed a mental break. And so I didn't do anything. And apologies to those of you that got used to them every single night or every weeknight. But yeah, I just needed a mental break. I will do one probably today on the way home. And so we'll have plenty of time to reflect on with me if you would like to join me. All right. That's what I got, folks. Happy Thursday. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting. And I didn't get my list of patrons to thank. So I will have to do my patron shout out tomorrow. I will make a point to get my list prepared so that I can give her proper shout outs tomorrow. All right. Thanks again. We'll talk to you on Friday. Bye-bye.